Ancestors enter the room. Bless me with your wisdom. Tell me how to move. What more do I need to prove? When will my seeds finally bear fruit? Ancestors into this space. Help me to dry my tears running down my face. Is this all just a place? Will my victory have the sweetest Tell me, is this all a test? I know that you stand with me and you know what's best. But I swear it's getting hard, and all I can do is look to the stars. Guide my steps and stand with me. Someday you will help me to break free. This has been a storm. Hell had no fury like a woman's scorn. Ancestors enter the flame. I can feel you cleansing me in summer rain. I can feel the liberation. This is my emancipation. Ancestors enter the room. Ancestors enter the Welcome to Blended Healing. There are several lost books in the Bible that were not published. And I started looking into them, and I thought that I would bring them to you so you can have an idea what was missing out of the books, and maybe perhaps you can find yourself the reasons of why they didn't make it into the book that we call the Bible. But what I do know is that over looking at several different types of information that's out there between the agnostics, between the Hebrews, the Hindus, Kemet, all of these different regions that have their own version of, what the Bible is or the stories that we see. There is a common thread. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting. So I just wanted to do a teachable moment. I will be coming in and out on this series. Like I said, there are several books. The first one I'm going to be covering is the book of Enoch. Now, the book of Enoch has 3 chapters in it. Very long. And the first chapter of Enoch addresses the watchers, the angels that were fallen onto the earth, and the differences between, and how he stood witness to that. Then you have Second Enoch, which is what I'm going to cover. And then you have, it's up to you to go back and look at these things and see maybe the reason of why they were dropped out of the book we know is called the Bible. Enoch, if you haven't been, he's the most, uh, I say, going to be notable figure that we hear about a lot, in and out of the text that he has witnessed to. Enoch is somebody who was there for the written of the apocalypse and things that may transpire before and after the ascension of the divine Son, as well as what is to be expected after. Today I'm going to be covering the seven heavens. The seven heavens based upon what Enoch has professed. Ashe? The seven heavens of the Slavonic second Enoch. The account begins with a visit to Enoch's bedside one night by some men who are, of course, angels. It's the wings and the glowing appearance that give it away. First, they tell Enoch to say goodbye to his family, and then the journey begins. The first heaven. The first heaven is where all the business of the sky is attended to. He meets the beings who govern the path of the heavenly bodies, the planets and the stars, and he sees the great ocean, the waters above the sky, that will soon, from the point of view of Enoch, be used to cleanse the earth from the defilement of the fallen angels through the means of the flood. The flood meaning the flood of Noah. Ashe. Also, in that first heaven, Enoch is shown where the weather is stored. He is also shown the storehouses of the snow, where the clouds are kept, and presumably vast baths or pools where the dew is stored. All these are guarded by terrible angels. Again, it is worth noting that in the ancient cosmology, heaven referred both to the habitation of God and the sky. So there's levels to this, where we were taught that heaven is just one vast place. No, heaven has levels. The second heaven, Enoch is taken up to the second heaven. Here he finds a place of punishment, not of people, but of rebellious angels, the watchers. The angels ask Enoch to intercede for them before God, just as the fallen watchers asked Enoch to do in the book of the watchers, although they were on earth and not being punished. These angels are experiencing measureless judgment. They are in torment and weeping. Enoch understandably feels sorry for them. Seeing Enoch and possibly assessing his sympathy, they plead for him to intercede on their behalf. Enoch tells them that he is not able to intercede for angels. As a human being, he himself stands in need of angelic meditation or prayer. As the book unfolds, indeed worthy to plead for angels. Enoch is destined to become an angel himself. In the third heaven, Enoch finds paradise. Christian readers immediately think of Paul's statement in Corinthians that he too saw paradise in the third heaven. As noted in 2 Corinthians 12, 1 through 4, Paul goes on to say, I must go on boasting. Although there is nothing to be gained, I will go on to visions and revelations from the Lord. I know a man in Christ who 14 years ago was caught up to the third heaven. Whether it was in the body or out of the body, I don't know. God knows. And I know that this man, whether in the body or apart from the body, I do not know, but God knows, was caught up to paradise and heard inexpressible things, things that no one is permitted to tell. It is not certain that Paul, because he doesn't tell us how many heavens that he saw, but it is interesting that both here in Paul's vision and paradise is located in the third heaven. Paradise is indescribably beautiful. Such beauty had never been seen. All the flowers are in bloom. The fruit trees have abundant harvests, and everything smells glorious. The four rivers of the biblical garden are there, but in keeping with the peace and serenity of paradise, they are not rushing. They move with a gentle movement. Enoch sees the tree of life, and he informs us that this is the tree under which God, source divine, rests when he visits and walks in the garden. God lives in the seventh heaven, so presumably he descends 4 levels from time to time to walk in his garden. The tree is the most splendid and fragrant of all. This is paradise from the fall. Adam and Eve are gone. Obviously, because Enoch is their great grandson. And there are angels guarding paradise. Here we discover that they spend their time praising God. Added to the beauty of the place, the angelic singing thrills Enoch. Enoch is told by the angels that this place, paradise, is ready, waiting for the righteous, for example, those who act in these ways. They are faithful to the Lord, and they treat others with compassion and kindness. The words could also be a direct quotation from Matthew 25, verse 34. And it states, then the king will say to those of his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. That was verse 34 through 40. Paradise is their eternal destination, but it is not only paradise that lies in the third heaven. There is also a terrible place of punishment. So Enoch is showing a place of punishment prepared for the unrighteous. It is a place of darkness and gloom where its victims will endure torment and torture, as in the case of paradise. It is interesting to examine the qualifications for this place. The main emphasis is again on the mistreatment of others. They are guilty of fraud or unwilling to feed the hungry or clothe the naked. Of course, there are other considerations. They engage in witchcraft and magic and steal souls, and they do not honor God. Let me go back and say that again. For those who question people like me, they engage in witchcraft and magic and steal souls, and they do not honor God. Practitioners like myself honor God. I just wanted to point that out so it's not misconstrued. And a rather prophetic move, the staff, cruel angels, have already been employed and put in place long before the residents arrive. There are lots of exciting aspects of this vision in the 1st or 2nd century AD. Jewish thinkers were talking about punishment and reward in the place of punishment. No, this place is not named, and paradise, respectively. Paradise is the Garden of Eden, a place of plenty and abundance and peace, and the place of punishment is a place of torture, darkness, and fire. But the differences are fascinating. Firstly, these are waiting for residents. The judgment happens at the end of time, not after death. Both are prepared but empty. Secondly, torment and torture are provided not by demons, but by angels, albeit specially trained torture class angels. Apart from the obvious implication that angels can be terrible, it is worth noting that these angels are under the administration of heaven, for the example, God, the divine. Punishment in this vision is something which is ordained and organized by the divine. Thirdly, and most obviously, the place of punishment is in the heavens. The heavens represent the other world, the world of divine reality. They contain everything that we can't see or feel or touch, but which nevertheless govern and shape our lives. The mechanism that governs the movement of heavenly bodies, the clouds and the snow and the ice in paradise, and for want of a better term, hell, all belong to heaven. This is not heaven as the home of God. That is coming up 4 floors up. Notice that Satan has nothing to do with this place of punishment. There is no domain which belongs to Satan and his demons. The 4th heaven. Here, Enoch is shown how the sun and the moon work. The sun and the moon sit on chariots which are pulled across the sky by angels, stars. They are obviously continuously in motion. There is no rest for them. Enoch sees that the sun is 7 times brighter than the moon, although in size they are the same. Enoch is shown how and where the sun and the moon exit heaven and passes across the sky. They go out through 6 great gates situated along the eastern horizon, too huge to measure. Enoch counts the duration of each pass of the sun and then of the moon as they pass out through the gates and return through 6 equivalent gates aligned along the western horizon. Each gate is situated so that each time the sun or the moon goes out through one of the height of the sun and the moon in the sky as humans will see it, is altered. Calendars, the way the year was to be divided and the ways in which the dates of the festivals were to be worked out were very important to these falsely attributed works. The interesting thing is that the sun and the moon and their gates are in the fourth heaven, above paradise in the place of punishment. This, of course, makes sense if you think that paradise is bathed in sunlight. The fifth heaven, Enoch sees the watchers who had not rebelled. This is the heavenly police force, whose job is to watch. This is the army of heaven. These gigantic beings standing in their regiments are imposing and terrifying, but they are also heartbreaking. Their shame of their rebellious comrades has silenced them. These watchers are in misery. Enoch encourages them to praise God. Nevertheless, they should be singing in a heavenly worship. God will be angry with them if he realizes they have stopped singing. Behind this is the idea that the worship of God on earth was nothing other than an echo, a reflection of the eternal heavenly worship, the worship that never ceases. Every religious structure needs a committee to run things, and here in the sixth heaven, Enoch discovers the heavenly management committee. These are the top angels, each of whom it seems has specific responsibility for different aspects of creation. Being angels and being gloriously happy all the time, they sing while they work, and their singing is sweet and tuneful. At last, Enoch arrives in the seventh heaven and sees God. God, of course, is seated on his throne and is attended by a vast number of angelic beings, the divine council or court. It seems that their chief job is to come forward in a designated ranks in orders to bow before God. This is the image of God as supreme sovereign and the imperial ruler receiving respect from subject kings and rulers. The heavenly beings here represent the powers and principalities who govern the affairs of the cosmos. They are the forces that shape human destiny. What Enoch sees is that they bow before the authority of the Almighty. Enoch reports that they do so in joy and merriment. There is laughter in heaven. Although around the throne is the imperial guard, the cherubim and the seraphims. These are the special winged beings who drive the throne when it goes on its journeys and on whose wings God's throne rests. Ezekiel 1 and 10 states that In the middle of it was something like four living creatures. This was their appearance. They were of human form. Each had four faces, and each of them had four wings. Their legs were straight, and the soles of their feet were like a sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished bronze. Under their wings of their four sides, they had human hands, and the four had their faces and their wings. Thus, their wings touched one to another. Each of them moved straight ahead without turning as they moved. As for the appearance of their faces, the four had the face of a human being, the face of a lion on the right side, and the face of an ox on the left side, and the face of an eagle. Such were their faces. Their wings were spread out above. Each creature had two wings, each of which touched the wing of another, while two covered their bodies. Each moved straight ahead. Wherever the spirit would go, they went without turning as they went. In the middle of a in the middle of living creatures, there was something that looked like burning coals of fire, like torches moving to and fro among the living creatures. The fire was bright, and lighting issued from the fire. As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the earth beside the living creatures, one for each of the four of them. As for the appearance of the wheels and their construction, wheels in their appearance was like the gleaming of beryl, and the four had the same. Wherever the spirit would go, they went, and the wheels rose along with them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When they moved, the others moved. When they stopped, the others stopped. Over the heads of the living creatures, there was something like a dome, shining like a crystal spread out above their heads. Under the dome, their wings, which stretched out straight in one towards another. When they moved, I heard the sound of their wings, like the sound of mighty waters, like the thunder of the Almighty, a sound of thunder, like the sound of an army. When they stopped, they let their wings down. And there came a voice from above the dome over their heads, and above the dome over their heads, there was something like a throne, in the appearance like sapphire, and seated above the likeness of the throne was something that seemed like a human form. Upwards form, upwards from what appeared like the loins, I saw something like a gleaming amber, something that looked like fire enclosed all around, and there was splendor all around, like the bow in a cloud on a rainy day. Such was the appearance of the splendor all around. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. When I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard the voice of someone speaking. Here they stand around the throne, serving as the elite bodyguard unit God heavies. Rather distressingly for Enoch, he is now left alone at the edge of the scene of the heavenly throne room. But it's okay. Gabriel, Gabriel, is sent to reassure and guide Enoch. He takes Enoch and lifts him up to God, just as the leaf is carried upwards by the wind. And so Enoch at last sees the Almighty, and yet sadly, he offers little in the way of a description. All he says is that the face of the Lord is very strong and terrible. It is not quite clear what strong means, but the overall impression is clear. The face of God induces awe and fear. The face of God is also very big. Who is to give an account of the dimensions of the being, the face of the Lord, strong and very terrible? Here we see a hint of things to come. Reflection on the size of God in such visions became an important aspect of the Jewish mystical tradition. That is, thought grew out of these false depictions in the writings about ascents to heaven. Somehow, it seems the ability to grasp and talk about the size of God's enabled the visionary to grasp something of the nature and quality of God. It mattered that God's face was big. God's face is like burning, glowing iron as it would appear in the furnace when being heated. Apparently, it emits sparks. To say that God is on fire would be merely stating the obvious. Just like molten metal, the appearance is glorious, compelling, and thrilling, but of course, incredibly dangerous. The message is clear. God is too hot to touch. From Enoch's point of view, however, something very special is about to take place. The scene is described as if all the heavenly actors have been waiting for this moment, whereas in the book of the Watchers, it seems as if Enoch is somehow intruding on a scene never intended for mortal eyes. Here it appears as if everything has been waiting for Enoch's arrival. Everything is incomplete without him. He is the missing piece. So God calls Enoch to come and stand before him. And here we learn why there was such an expectation in heaven. Enoch was to become an angel. His earthly clothing refers to his human nature. These clothes are taken away and replaced by his clothes of glory. As soon as this happens, looking at himself, Enoch realizes that I have become like one of the glorious ones. For example, the angels. He says there was no observable difference. In other words, there's no way to tell Enoch apart from the angels who surrounded him. But Enoch isn't a stand around and wonder kind of an angel. He has a job to do. He is to become the transmitter of the mysteries of heaven, of God. He will be the divinely inspired scribe of heaven. So this is the reason Enoch is elevated to the ranks of the angels. He is to be the heavenly scribe, the one who records all the deeds of God. So for 30 days, the angel Verivel instructs Enoch in all the mysteries of heaven. After which Enoch writes down everything he has learned. And the Lord called to me and placed me to the left of himself, closer than Gabriel. And I did reverence to the Lord. And the Lord spoke to me. Whatever you see, Enoch, things standing still and moving about, and which were brought to perfection by me, I myself will explain it to you. Ashe. And that's the synopsis and the summary that I have for the second chapter of Enoch. Like I said, we'll be going over these different books and doing a summary of them. It's just to whet your appetite for you to go in and look at these things. In some cases, it feels as though things were not supposed to be revealed to us that serve those who created the different books of the Bible and which was man translated. So I just want to be clear. I'm not trying to sway you either way of what your belief system is and what dogma that you attach yourself to or you're just a spiritual being altogether. It's up to you and your own connection with the divine to figure out, are these just merely stories, or did this truly happen in the biblical sense of the words? Thank you for stopping by Blended Healing. Ashe, deep bow, and I will see you very, very soon.
Save me from all the pain and all the strain that I feel, all the tears that I cried, all the times I wanted just to say goodbye. I held on to the bed, I held on to the bed. Walked a million miles I didn't think I could stand. Didn't really know that anyone would understand or hold my hand. Take me to where I know I can find my peace and my sanctuary. Take me away, take me away, take me, away, take me away. My stress, the strain, all my tears and pain, all my tears and pain. Save me. I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I'm standing in my purpose and I know some days I'm rougher than others, but I can weather the storm. And I know this is wrong, but I can stand so strong.